Welcome to the Not Your Asian Women podcast. I'm Christine Chang.
I'm Shining.
Today we're going to talk about growing up in China. Shining grew up in China versus the U.S. I grew up in California, so I am an ABC, American-born Chinese.
I'm also a banana. Yellow on the outside, white man inside. Shout out to Sebastian Chen, comedian. He roasted me with that joke.
That you're a banana?
Yeah.
That was, banana or Twinkie. Have you heard that one? Did you eat those growing up?
Yeah,
Twinkie.
no.
Well,
Twinkie,
yellow
I
on the
had-
outside,
yeah.
white on the inside.
Or I think the opposite is eggs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the white people
White
who
outside,
have
yellow inside. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, my husband is kind of like that because he's so great at saving money, stingy. He's a lot cheaper than a lot more considerate than I am.
Same with Pete. My mom, when she first met Pete, my husband's Caucasian, by the way, she said he clearly is not Asian, but he acts like he's Asian. I'm like, yeah, more than me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And my husband, he knows how to. So we met in Beijing and he would, I didn't know how to bark. I mean, what's the word? Like this dance. Cut this price in half. Bargain. Yeah, I didn't know how to bargain. I felt a little shamed.
Interesting, because I normally aren't
I know
Chinese people good at it.
I know, but my parents were pretty shy about that because they felt like, oh, it's not
Devaluing?
something. Yeah, it's not something we do.
Okay.
So like they don't do that. So I felt shamed of just this, dance. It's because my dad viewed it as waste of time.
Oh.
You say this, and if I trust you, that's this deal. If I'm willing to buy, I'm willing to get scammed by you. But if not, then it's fucking waste of time. Why do you do this dance?
Well, I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
Because some cultures, that's actually what you do. You actually don't take the literal price.
Yeah. This makes
rare.
him look. This makes him look bad, but he thinks he's better than that. He's above that. He shouldn't be doing that.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's giving the merchant money. Sometimes
Yeah.
going like back to Asia and stuff, and the stuff compared to the US was already so cheap that I felt kind of bad. Like, I can't pay the $5 for this. It's okay. But it's more of a, sometimes if I would and you see their face, like, yeah, like we got her. I hated that. So I have no shame in haggling. And the worst case scenario is I'm like, you walk away, and if you really want it, you just come back and you buy it at the last price that they gave you. But when I was in Morocco with some friends, and they're white, and it's just so unfamiliar to them, and then I could just see how uncomfortable they were. The shoes, $65. Okay, and I look at them like, no. I'm like, no, you don't do that.
Yeah. So my husband is like more, I guess, yellow than me in that way. He would just, for me, like I would try maybe 80% or like 20% off or something, and then he would just cut the full price 2/3.
Oh, I do half.
Yeah.
I do. You just start, because you can always go up. You can't come back down.
Yeah, he will cut the price 2/3 and then like go even lower and then go above that. He's great at doing this dance.
Wow.
And he would even pull me away, and I'm like, this is a pretty good price already.
Wow, it is flipped.
Yeah,
That is flipped. How funny.
yeah. And my parents are rare cases in that way.
Absolutely. I've heard very few, actually. I feel usually Chinese people are good at haggling.
Yeah. And then when we go to hotels and stuff, and if my mom or my mom and I see, oh, this lotion is good, let's take it, my dad would shame us for that.
Really?
Yeah. He thinks Song family does not do this.
Yeah. I mean, there's a balance too. I mean, if it comes with the room, like,
Exactly.
or if it's going to waste, I'm like, I'll just take it. But sometimes you see families and they're so, is the word like greedy, taking so much stuff Like every little thing, maybe even stuff you're not supposed to take. I'm like, yo, chill out a little bit.
Growing up, my hometown. First of all, I grew up in a small town in China of 3 million people, and yeah, school. I grew up in Hubei province. I don't know if you've heard of it. If you've never heard of it, you've heard of Wuhan. That's right. I grew up there, and Hubei province has the highest high school exam scores on average. That means 9 out of 10 motherfuckers there are smart, and I happen to be the 10th one.
You graduated.
I graduated, thank God. No, I didn't, because I came here. My parents knew there was no way I was able to graduate school.
Oh, wow.
They just knew.
Oh, so you came before college?
I came here before college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I didn't have to do all that, and thank God. And yeah, like grown up, school, like education was the priority. We had no extracurriculars, even with like start with middle school, grade 7 to 12, I guess. Here we had no PE class. Literature, I guess, Chinese and English and mathematics are the 3 major subjects, and those takes up, I guess, 60% of all your scores. And these 3 teachers would rotate and then take up PE class. We'd be so disappointed. We see one of those motherfuckers come in the classroom and say, PE is canceled, no recess today, we're going to do pre-exams. So that happened to us a lot.
Dang.
In school, even these days still, school from middle school is from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Really?
with 2-hour lunch break.
Holy smokes.
Yep.
That's too long.
I don't know if you've seen the Chinese classroom memes. Dude, the books are like mountains on the little desk. It's just the size of a American school desk, but had like mountains of books. And no wonder the suicide rates are high.
That's too much pressure for kids.
There was no record coming out of China, but I guarantee Chinese student suicides trumps all. They say it's Japan, Korea. No, I think it's China for sure. Because growing up, this is getting a little dark, but we hear all the time, we're almost desensitized to it, that such kid from this classroom killed themselves. It's like to a point where like this makes me sound bad, but like I'm just being raw with it. To a point where me and my bestie were like, again? Like, who died this time? We were all desensitized to it. And the worst part was teacher, principal would fucking shame this dead kid. And we'd have like a weekly school meeting with all the kids in school. And they'd say, do not do this. This is coward. He give up life. Shame on him. Yo, that's crazy. And this happens every year. So it was normal to us.
You would think at some point someone would be like, hey, maybe this is causing this and we should change some things.
And then kids will start jumping off buildings.
I've seen some clips of that, yeah.
Yeah, and then they, instead of addressing this issue, mental health issue, they just put bars. Fucking schools in China look like prison. Yeah.
Didn't you tell me that movie Deep Sea? There's an animated movie It was screening at Tribeca last year in New York, and it was a Chinese director, whoever wrote that, and they must have been on something. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch.
Acid.
Yeah,
It's an acid
beautiful
trip.
to watch. But the underlying story is a little girl and her mental health, basically like the trauma that shaped who she was. And Shining told me that they banned that movie in China because apparently mental health doesn't exist over
Nope,
there.
exactly. They were able to put in box office, but only for a week, and then they had to haul it.
Oh my god,
It's not allowed. It's banned.
Fantastic film. Oh man.
Yeah, and child abuse is lunch. It's very normal to a point where, you know how like in high-rise apartment in China, you can hear everybody's business, and it takes a neighbor to knock on the wall, share the wall, and say, "Hey, that's enough beating your kid. You're going to kill him." That's very normal to us. It's a joke, but that just like a normal thing. There's no child protective services.
Right. Were your teachers allowed to
Oh,
physically hit you?
Dude, teachers in China were the fucking worst. Talking about bullying, kids, that bully was nothing. Teacher would kick you, slap you, drag you, public shame you. It's a normal thing.
Still. Damn.
And then it's made a, because I was been abused by a teacher several times. There were one time, it was in middle school. I didn't get a answer correct. I wasn't like fucking calling her bitch or nothing. I just didn't get a answer correct. And she dragged me from my desk all the way to front of the classroom and slapped me and then kicked me too.
Shit.
Yeah.
I had no idea they still do it. I've heard stories. My mom told me. Because back in the day, so I was like, oh, that's your generation. I just thought it would be different. At least not hitting the students anymore. I didn't know that.
Still. Now I'm thinking, like, it angers me. It angers me that I didn't have the balls to kick her back. Dude, if I had a kid...
What would happen if you kicked her back?
I'd be expelled, and so what? I didn't know my parents had resources, that school wasn't my only way out. If I had known...
What about the kids nowadays? You don't think that they're more... Some of them may be more rebellious?
It depends on the school.
Okay.
They're only like 1% of 1% were able to go to a really good international school, maybe in Beijing or Shanghai. They are more, liberal, more open-minded, and then value extracurricular work. Then yeah, but majority of schools in China are fucking prison and abusive.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Yeah. I've never met one healthy Chinese motherfucker. Never. I've never met one of them.
That's true. Emotionally, that their mental health, where they're like really confident, like everything's great. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen.
No.
We all have stuff. And I grew up in the States, so my parents, they were immigrants, so they kind of parented more on the Chinese way. But oh my God, that makes me feel so bad.
When I came here and I see these like American kids complain about these issues, I'm like, yeah, these fucking weak ass bitches. These are nothing.
Totally.
As an immigrant, that's just our perspective.
Absolutely. You know what I heard recently about kids have the latest toy, or they have a phone, so they feel left out if, my kid can't feel left out because everyone has one, so I have to give them one. I'm like, welcome to the real world. You're not going to have everything that someone else has. And they're like, well, I don't want them to feel, kids just want to feel included. And that is true. I think about middle school. Like, you do just want to fit in, but it's swung a little too far. Like, yeah, someone's going to have better things than you. It's catering too much the other way for me.
But I will say that with that extreme punishment, drugs was not a thing in China. I don't know anybody with drug issues growing up.
Well, what's the penalty if you're caught with drugs? You go to jail. You go what?
Death.
It's death.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably why.
Yeah. So drugs is a number one killer for like people here from 18 to 45 or some shit like fentanyl or something. Like every kid has some type of drug issues. You've seen Euphoria. So I'm not like trashing on Chinese culture and how abusive it is. The school systems is nothing is perfect here. Drug is definitely a number one thing. And then I've mentioned, dude, if I grew up here, I don't know, I'd be going in and out of rehab like 3 times already. I don't know if I'd be here. I'd use that because I have addictive personality. If I was exposed to that early, ooh, I don't know where I'd been. I'd been interviewed soft white underbelly right now. I'd be hoeing myself right now.
Strong coffee company. What do you think?
This is perfect for lazy bitches like me. You can just pour the powders in and put hot water. You wouldn't believe it. My eyes was smaller than this. But after that, I'm awake.
Use code.
Oh, yeah.
What's our code? Not your Asian women at checkout for a nice little discount.
Enjoy your new crack.
I wouldn't change a thing. It shaped me for who I am, but just both of these cultures need to do something about education or school system.
Correct. And more balance too. I'm like, damn, why is it just swing so? Humans are just so extreme. I'm like, does it have to be that extreme? I mean, growing up in the States, I do think in general the kids can use more discipline here. I mean, not to the point where it's abusive, but that they're like gravity, like there's a consequence for every action that you do. I think, well, we're a bit spoiled here.
How is dating as a young?
It was fine. There was never anything. I remember having crushes from the time I was in first grade, and everyone could talk about it. Like, you're my boyfriend. You write little Valentine's Day cards, and it was fine as long as you weren't really young and doing sexual things like at school. That might have been a problem, but it was never an issue. You can date who you want. Going middle school to high school, but this is just regular kids just being assholes. If gossip spreads, some people might be like, oh, she's a whore. That's normal, right? But yeah. It wouldn't be the school publicly shaming and saying you can't date.
Yeah, in China it's different. We have a term for it. It's called 早恋. Early dating, I guess.
So you're not supposed to date till you're 18?
You're not supposed to date until you're in college. Even that. Because education is such an important priority. Parents, teachers, school, authorities would not want you to do anything besides fucking studying.
Oh my God.
And then they shame you. They shame you for dating as kids in school. If they catch 2 kids holding hands or something as innocent as holding hands.
That's really sad.
They publicly shame you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. My mom said there was a story of one time her father, my grandpa, found out that my mom's sister was dating or seeing, like a boy a few houses down. And then grandpa found out and beat her ass. And my mom says, I always remember that. I feel so bad watching her. You're just an innocent kid feeling love, feeling happiness, and you get punished for that. That's really
make me sad.
It does. How fucked up is that? That's way too extreme. I mean, it makes me understand my parents a little more when you said how much. I've always known that Chinese people, that they value education a lot, but my parents never to that degree. That is like prison. That's way too much. But I would even get annoyed growing up that I'm like, why is this so important for you guys? Because the way they were raised, that was their ticket out. That was their opportunity to make money, was this way. And I think they didn't understand that it's a different world that we're growing with. One, we're in a different country, and it's a different generation, right? But I am glad they did push it on us. I think there's a lot of value in education. But what you went through and the kids in those Chinese schools, that is way too much.
Yeah, that is considered normal.
I'm gonna I'm gonna have different feelings now when I've seen like TikTok videos, or it'll be really young kids in China, maybe like kindergarten, and they're actually doing PE, and it's the balls, but they're so in uniform doing the balls, and I'm like, yeah, these kids are disciplined, they practice, they do things, unlike the kids here. But now that I know how to, I'm like, these kids are probably, it's too much for them.
Yeah, it's when I see those, it's not as happy as it seems. And that's probably the only time they get to do some type of physical activities. And we don't know behind the scene if some kids are not cooperating, will get punished. And they have, all the movements will have to be in sync. And they have to act happy. Because they don't want free thinkers.
Right.
They want prisoners,
disciplined.
And yeah, it's very common in Chinese schools to punish kids for dating, not getting answers correct, publicly shame you, physically abuse you. And teachers are the worst bully. They are bullies that are just kids are being vicious, but nothing compared to what teachers do.
That's what my mom was saying. She grew up in Cambodia, but it was French Catholic school. She said the nuns, the teachers were horrible.
The nuns, the Catholics, say no more. Them fucking witches.
Oh my God. So it makes me have more empathy for, at least for my mom, like any like trauma or way of being she might. That I have not had to endure half the shit that she's a refugee, and the way she was brought up, way tougher. So it makes me have a lot more empathy for her going through all that. But growing up in the States, it was pretty, I personally didn't like school growing up. That was just a personal opinion. I'm not, when you said 8 to 10, I guess school was fun up until like 5th grade. You do in America, like our school, arts and crafts, and there was things that I think was enjoyable. And after a while, I didn't like the rigidity of school. But I think it's also because I'm more of my own, like I'm an independent thinker, and also I didn't feel like I got to choose the classes that I was interested in. There's the general study of like, why the fuck are we learning geometry and stuff? I really don't remember much from high school and even college at all. Like the little factual things, I barely remember anything. And a lot of it, those facts are very useless to me. I think going to college was a gift. I learned to like reading during college because we had to do so much of it. And so you learn to apply yourself. And I think that was the biggest value I got out of it. Unless you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, just, some kind of specialty, I feel it's not necessary. I think you can learn a lot more traveling the world and interacting with different people, interning, different jobs, even waiting tables. Have you ever worked in a restaurant before or service industry?
Yeah. Starbucks.
Okay, that's enough. I feel that everyone should have a service industry job at some point because you learn so much about people and yourself, and the people who haven't done it, you can tell. You can tell they've never done it. I learned a lot when I was waiting tables. I was a horrible waitress, by the way, but I learned so much traveling as well. My parents, we're lucky. Our parents took us traveling a lot, so I got to see different perspectives. I got to see different ways that people lived. But in the US, I didn't like school. I didn't like middle school, going to high school. I did not like high school at all. At all. I think I really found freedom. It was really after college. My parents really wanted me to get a bachelor's in anything because, of course, the education. And I didn't. I think because I knew I was creative at heart, I'm like, what's the point of it? My mom just said, please just get a bachelor's. Just pick something and get a bachelor's. So I went to UCLA and I did. I majored in international development. It made sense for me because I like traveling and culture and like talks of political science. Why are things where they are? Things like that. But I wasn't going to have a job related to that. And I knew that. And it wasn't until I moved to New York after, and that was my choice, that I feel like I really blossomed and I got to explore, like, who am I and who do I want to be outside of? I felt a bit suffocated with the way I was raised, where I felt like a black sheep. Like, I'm not into like following what the whole group is doing. My parents are scientists. You know, my dad's an organic chemist. My mom's she's a businesswoman. But it was all very just like practical stuff. And I always felt like a fish out of water. I don't fit in with these conversations. They don't light me up. I'm not engaged. And I remember one time, because my parents would take us on their conferences sometimes when we became like a little older. I must have been sophomore getting ready to do college applications. And one of my mom's colleagues, he's a doctor, and he said, you know, like, what are you thinking about doing or majoring in? And I just said, I think he could sense in my voice. I'm like, well, my parents want me to major in chemistry. He said, what do you really want to do? And I said, I don't know. And I was really comfortable saying, I don't know either, because my mom always said, like, you better know. You know, I'm like, honestly, I don't know. And so unless you're given that space to explore, so I do think there's a lot of value in giving a child or someone who's coming of age that space to explore what are their strengths, what are they good at. And being on the East Coast away from my family gave me that space. I remember when the plane landed, I had packed my bags and I saw this, like, you know, descending on New York, all the twinkling lights, was probably one of the happiest moments of my life, where I felt like, oh my God,
I'm away from home. I'm free.
like, this is my chance. The freedom of just being able to explore and make mistakes without hearing every second like criticism or you should do this. I was so happy. And I probably learned the most during my time in New York doing the different jobs. You know, waiting tables. I worked at a talent and model agency, a photo studio, and that's where I discovered, you know, my love for kind of like entertainment and photography. And the years after that, I would become a photographer for 15 years. And I matured a lot. I remember my parents saying, like, the first time I came home to visit after I moved to New York and I brought back like gifts for all of them, they're so happy. They're like, you know, when you see your kid just kind of like shift a little and you see they can make it on their own, they're okay. She's bringing gifts back. My dad told me he was really happy. And my mom, I know it didn't make her happy when I told her I want to move to New York. She didn't, it's like your baby moving away. But she did it in a way to kind of cut me down. It's like, why are you moving there? Da 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 da. And she actually cried when she dropped me off at the airport. I've only seen her cry twice in my life, and she was holding it in, and she just bawled and ran in the car and drove away. And
you do love me.
And at that age, how old was I? I guess I was 18. Oh, no. Well, college is 21, 22. I'm just like, oh, and I just go roll my bag into the airport. I wasn't like, oh, Mom. I'm just like, man, you've given me such a hard time. I just want to breathe there, okay? Yeah. And it was just because she was worried, like, oh my God, is she going to get into drugs? And like,
yeah, that's just like every parent. But, that reminded me, like how, you know, in China too, teachers will, school will ask kids, what do you want to do when you grow up? Same thing, I think here you do that test once in a while too. There's a thing I want to fucking just throw it out there. There's misconception or rumor that people made up and then say that, TikTok is poisoning American kids because Chinese TikTok, every kid on there wants to be astronaut, scientist, engineer, and every kid in America wants to be an influencer, and that's how China wants to corrupt America. Bullshit. Bruh, Here, listen to me. I grew up in China. We had to lie. We had to lie what we want to do, because if we didn't put astronaut, scientist, fucking engineer, our ass will get beaten. All right? So we couldn't really say what we want to do. And these kids these days, same shit, bro, same shit. Every kid in China wants to be a YouTuber, influencer, a Billy. That's the YouTube version in China. So stop the fucking rumor shit, bro. My rant is over.
I saw that video. I saw that TikTok video.
I'm not even joking, because if you don't put that on your application, no college will ever accept you. And your school teacher will beat the fuck out of you. Your parents will disown you. So you learn to lie. You learn to say shit that make your parents happy. And from like early age, you don't know who you want, because you have no free will. There's not even critical thinking class in China. There's not even public speaking class in China. They don't teach us that shit. I didn't even know.
That's so interesting, because you always hear how the education system in the U.S. just sucks shit and all that, and they don't foster critical thinking. Other countries, I mean, that's worse.
Yeah.
China, that is worse.
So I've been like wanting to say this shit. Like I hear like on Joe Rogan, just Mensphere podcast, all like talk about this. Like I don't know which article they picked this shit up, but it's wrong. It's wrong.
That's the thing. Unless you're unless
There.
you've experienced it and you're
there.
there. I hate when people talk like it is or they know.
And Chinese kids, they suffer just as much, if not more. They barely want to live. None of them could find a job these days. Economy is so fucking bad. Bro, nobody wants to be engineer. Everybody wants to lay down.
That's true. I don't think I've met anyone who loves being an engineer.
Exactly. So like I don't know, like with this like political agenda, who picked this up originally. It gives me anger, frustration.
In case you can't tell.
So yeah, I mean yeah, so like growing up was tough, but the thing I guess made it better was internet wall, right? So we couldn't see what was like other way. So you kind of just accept the way it is, and you find your own way to survive this. So I guess in a way it helps, because if you do know, oh, what's healthy, then you know, oh, what you have is fucking traumatic.
Right.
Instead of just, okay, everybody we're okay, you got beaten 10 times, all right, mine was 15, all right. So you get used to it, you learn, you help each other learn how to survive from that environment, and then you just work and then do this thing, and because it's normal to you, like I don't know, like chicken feet. Yeah, like eating chicken feet is normal. I just compare child abuse to eating chicken feet. But it's the same thing. If like if eating chicken feet is normal comfort food, you wouldn't know to other people, what the fuck, you eat chicken feet? That's gross. So it's kind of like that, I guess, in a way.
What about the bigger cities like Shanghai or Beijing? Would in general, would the schools be more, or is it the same there?
Same.
It is the same?
Same. Unless it's international school.
Okay.
But you'd have to be a diplomat back in the day, or billionaires, where you're a CCP member. You have special school you go to. Mm-hmm. But I bet it's very similar way. Overall structure is like that.
Mm. What would you guys do for fun as like teens?
Internet bar was really big back in my day, because I'm old. When internet, I think what came out when, I don't remember, but internet bars were big in China. where it's like a lounge bar, but like it has a computer, so kids will go there play like online games. And then some kids got so addicted. I think in the early 2000s, dragging your kids to like addiction camp, internet bar addiction camp. There's a whole ass documentary online about that too. It made kids skip school, and several of them died because they would not eat or drink and play just online game for weeks at a time and just fucking drop dead. That was a thing in the early 2000s. So they had to put a stop on that. I think they don't exist anymore. One, because everybody, family is affordable now to have, internet. And then also on your phone, you could play phone games and stuff. And they made some online game into sports now. So you can pursue that as career these days. So it's less strict. But I remember late 90s, early 2000s. Ooh, that was crazy times. That so people, because you're not allowed to do other stuff. There was no drugs, and alcohol. Honestly, kids over or like drink alcohol wasn't that big in my circle, at least, because much like Europe, kids were allowed to have a little taste of alcohol, and
it just doesn't
there's
taste
no
good over
there was no like a strict age limitation. So it's almost like, oh, it's available, so you know how kids are. The more you tell me not to do shit, the more I want to do shit. If it's available to me, I can just buy. Any kid can go to a grocery store and get like a 6-pack back in my days. So alcohol wasn't a big thing. It just internet bars. It was fun. And then it's like jaywalk in the middle of a night or something, like just kids being kids, or hanging out at parking lot and then talking bullshit or smoking. Yeah, you try to be an adult.
Yes. We did that
Oh shit, because porn wasn't that available to us, and even now it's illegal. So, but there are ways people can get porns, but in general it's illegal in China. And I remember me and my friends were like, oh, what? Because we were curious.
Of course.
And if somebody had like, we had our own version of Playboy magazine. And we would like fucking, oh shit, that's what his penis looks like this, where, like that, or like grown ass, oh, this is sex, this is a different position, or all that. Yeah. I remember it was the first time my mom slapped me. She was never physical. Because my friends and I were hanging out, and one of the boys left. It's a Japanese hentai cartoon book, and it got stuck in between the couch cushion and forgot to take it with him. And my mom came home and saw that. And she was furious. She said, what the fuck are you reading the shit? And just grabbed me and slapped me. And I was like, oh, dang. I guess you caught me. I mean, this is such and such. Because like, we were all like hanging out. And yeah, just normal. Yeah, I think similar to here, except drugs wasn't a thing. Okay. And then home party alcohol wasn't that much of a thing. Other than that, like just curious about sex, smoking, or like talking shit, normal kids shit.
Yeah, that's pretty similar to us. Hang out in parking lots, malls. In high school, my boyfriend was really into the import car racing scene. Fast and Furious.
Right.
So I was in that scene. So we'd hang out. He had his car crew. Their cars were fixed up. My car was fixed up too, and it's like a little like car gangs. You know, you have like the banners and stuff, and they called it the illegals, which was like illegal drag racing out in like the industrial parts. Actually, where you live, Fremont? No, Fremont.
Oh, Fremont.
There was like some industrial parts.
Yeah.
That at night, like there's no one around, so these cars, like hundreds, would meet up at an In-N-Out over there, and then they would, follow each other, and then do these races. It was so freaking dumb. And then sometimes the cops would come and everyone would scatter. So the movie The Fast and Furious was based off that. And fun fact that I used to not share this. My friends make fun of me for to this day that I was in the movie, the first one, The Fast and Furious, as an extra, as a girl racer. I'm not going to tell you which part I'm in, but I'm in the back there. 18-year-old me is in the back there someplace. But we would do that also. We'd be out late doing stuff like that. And then after in college, what would we do? We would start, like, we were not big drinkers in high school either. I think college, started drinking. But I think as an Asian, I was never big into drinking. I think I just didn't like the taste that much. At the clubs and stuff, we would get drunk. But, like, I don't really drink now. I just don't like it enough. But yeah, in college we'd go out to the bars. Oh, like spring break. Did you ever do that? Spring break in like Florida or Cancun? So janky.
Yeah.
So
here
freaking
I
janky. Did you?
Yeah, here I did, but Charleston, and then I came here too during spring break. But in China, there's not that.
No spring break?
No spring break. No like rowdy or because sex, drugs are looked down upon. You will get shamed. It's not celebrated. It's not, oh, she's a cheerleader. She does this. She's popular. Where, he's in the college sports and then fucking all these people. It's popular kids. It wasn't like that. You'd get shamed. It's a thing that people try to hide and not publicly share. And also car racing wasn't a thing because not everybody could afford cars back in the day. I think cars were only become a household. Even these days, it's not like a household essential. It's more of a luxury item in China. In America, cars is like, it's your transportation. Cars are your legs. So kids from an early age start driving. For us, it wasn't like that. If your family had a car back in the 90s, bro, you're rich. Kids were like, if they had came from a better family, would ask their drivers to pull up right in front of the school gate.
Oh my God.
That was me. Because you were in vain. You didn't know. You were a kid, and you try to, that's the easiest way to feel better than everybody else. But yeah, car racing wasn't a thing. So but I didn't go to college in China.
Right.
I'd imagine it's just as depressing. The whole education school system. You see, like the college dorm, fucking 12 people share a dorm room in China.
Damn.
That's what
Can you imagine?
Oh Lord. That's fucking crazy. Like every day, that it's not even a big room. It's as big as this room. Fucking 6 kids stacked up to each other. It's not even like, oh, it's a poor school. Every school is like that. A friend of mine is now in Tsinghua University. Tsinghua is like aka the MIT knockoff MIT version for China. And yeah, it's a small dorm, no heat or no nothing. It's cold as motherfucker. And everybody had a share. So it's not like because it's a poor school. Every school was like that.
Chinese are just more practical. Like, that's enough. Are you dying?
Exactly.
You're okay.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I'm so glad that my parents, because they suggested when I was doing competitive gymnastics, and we were at the point of are you gonna decide to do this and go for like through college and the Olympics? You make that decision. I'm so glad I did not. But they were saying, if you go train in China and you come back here, you're going to be the best. You're going to be the best in California. And then I kind of thought about it. And then it's either like China or Russia if you go, because you know how they would train you. I'm so glad I didn't do it. Holy moly. Because already in the States, we were training how old was I? By this time, 5th grade, how old are you? 10, 11, 12? Already training minimum 4 to 5 hours each night, 5 days a week. And this is in the US. So if you go over there, what you said, it's probably like fucking all day and they'll like abuse your body to the point of, that's how you get so good. And I decided I got an injury. And then at that point, I decided to stop. And I cried because you're mourning, like I'm letting go of this dream. But I'm so glad I did because it was right around when I was hitting puberty. So I grew like 12 inches after that. If I never quit, I would be super strong because it compacts your muscles. You're just like a rock woman, like muscle ball. So it stunts your growth. Yeah. So I'm really glad. And it's very intense training if you just decide to go there. Yeah. But I imagine if I got training over there, I would have a different life. I would be 4'8" and
yeah, for sure.
I don't know what I would be doing.
Yeah, that's the thing is like you are already on this path, and then maybe if you were to do that, you still be happy with it. Like whatever you
would
do,
know, right? You wouldn't even know. Yeah.
You wouldn't even know. So that's the thing with if you don't know, you don't know. You don't miss what you don't have. So where am I going with this?
I just imagine like how strict are the coaches over there?
Oh, Lord. That's why like sports is not a big thing in China because how intense it is. And everybody wants to value education. Like education is more of a priority. It's not within our culture. We don't have any big name sports. Sports is really weak, and normally parents who willing to send their kids to athletic schools like that would train your kids to be professional athletes are poor. They're villagers. They can't even afford to feed their kids, so they dump them there. It's almost like what's the place you go, you abandon your kids? Orphanage. It's almost, that's our like orphanage version. Or like, the coaches there would pick the kids that have the ability promising. Yeah. Right. But yeah, it's very it can be very dark. So sports isn't a big thing. Because it's so
like abusive.
It's a very and then also the probability of a kid to make it is very low. Imagine become like a A-lister in Hollywood. It's like 10 times worse just because of sheer numbers of people in China. The competition is, like I said, real life Squid Game. Most people don't make it. And education is their only way out of their village. That's a major difference. I think here is better in a sense because you have other options. You can still make money without having to graduate from high school or even, college. And you can develop other skills to become an entrepreneur and stuff like that. So that's why when I came here and I hear all these bitches complain, I think Ronnie Chen did a bit on that. It's like, we call America 美国, beautiful country. And then we came here, all of y'all bitches do is complaining.
It's true.
Let's talk about something light.
Okay,
something light, something fun thing I noticed.
Maybe some fun stories. Did you get into trouble or anything?
The fun thing I saw when I came here, like, oh, every kids play wedgie. Yeah, it was a thing in China too, like just pulling people's underwear, like fucking, or like just boys being vicious and then like just punch each other's in the balls and shit. That's and that
across cultures.
Across cultures, I'm sure, like in every culture, in every country, kids did wedgie and punched each other's in the balls, and then also like this thing, like you flip your eyelid and then to show your
I know what you're talking about.
Like every kid did that as a trick, as a fun thing to do. It wasn't even a silly little thing. It wasn't even taught. And I was like, when I came here and I saw some memes and then people do that, I'm like, yo, we used to do that too. And then jump the ropes and stuff.
Jump rope?
Jump rope. You did that too. Yeah. Oh, like drawing shapes. I don't know how it's called anymore, but you jump, you jump on the shape and then
hopscotch.
Yeah. That we did that too. And then that game in fucking Squid Games, like 1, 2, 3, like red light, green light, we did some version of that too. It was called 1, 2, 3木头人. Same thing. It's like the main person up there back facing, and then she will count 1, 2, 3 and turn around, and then if she catch somebody move, then you're out. Yeah, this was even before the internet, but it's funny how kids grew up in opposite of the
sides of the world,
play the same game without even communicating. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah,
there has to be, I don't know if it's some like genetic traits in us, like when we were like in caveman time. Is that how kids played, and it's in our genetics or something? That's how.
Probably. I mean, I'm sure there's some sort of, if you ask like a developmental expert
yeah.
of like kids wanting to test boundaries and the boys wanting to punch each other. I went to the countryside of Sierra Leone in Africa, and it made me understand, like, and it's unhinged over there because no one stops them. In the States, if boys are fighting at school, you're gonna get stopped.
Yeah.
Here you see like the true nature and how far it goes. Oh man, they just want to fight, and they're just testing boundaries, and you get humbled quickly. Oh shit, I can't do this to this person because fists are going, and they're little, and I wasn't used to witnessing it. I was like looking around like, is anyone gonna do anything? And a woman just walks by like it's nothing. Bam, 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 bam in the face, and then you see the one get defeated. He's like crying and bloody, and I just feel so bad because if you've experienced that as a kid, getting like beat up or something, like poor guy. And to them it's just normal. That's just like what they do.
That's more natural of things. I think it should be, because it's a lot safer for kids to do that, instead of you don't know what boundary is, and then until you enter the real world, that consequences
in the face
are a lot bigger than what a 2-year-old boy could do to each other.
I agree. When it's just so controlled here, and to the point of maybe at some point, okay, they keep beating, you can separate them, but it gets to a point. The men over there are very well adjusted. Naturally, right?
Yeah, my husband grew up in the South, and the education there is pretty like kind of abusive, more to the natural selection type of way too. And he told me when boys in school get in a fight, and if a teacher caught them, would make them hug each other, force them to hug each other.
That's actually a pretty good punishment.
Yeah. And then and until it's okay, and then that's how their go-to punishment was.
Cool off.
Right?
I think there is a human nature thing with men, testosterone, aggression, getting it out, and you fucking cool off, like it happens, and then hopefully they can work through it in a way that's
That's healthy.
positive and without one person getting like completely disheveled, missing teeth and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
that stuff
actually
used to
think it's
happen.
healthy.
Yeah, it used to happen more back in the day, right? Because there was less, parents weren't as involved. So yeah, there would be fights and stuff. I remember in high school I don't know if it still happens now, if it's more monitored. People would fight after school, like meet me over here.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, and people would be like, so and so and so and so, they're gonna fight. And I saw, I would see kids getting jumped. Like a kid had a Walkman, pushed in the bush, take it, and that sucks. But I mean, that's shit like that just happens. And now I just think some of the kids are just way too sheltered that they don't even know. Like they go into the city and like leave like valuables in the car for everyone to see. Like, dude, someone's taken that.
Yeah.
So everyone learns when they learn.
Another fun thing I noticed when I came here to the United States was I was told you can't wear the same clothes every day.
That's weird, isn't it? Because other countries, it's fine. You wear the same, like in the UK, they got jumpers the whole week. What? That should be normal as long as it doesn't smell. Like, who the fuck cares?
And I was like, God damn, y'all like, okay, that's how like
They'll make fun of you.
first world play.
It's the consumerism.
Wasteful?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
consumerism. It's so unnecessary.
Yeah, and I thought that was like, God damn, every day? It's hard enough to figure out one outfit today. I got to think ahead.
Yeah, I actually missed that. Like, when I was doing photography full time, I had my own uniform, which was like a white button-up shirt, like loose fitting, with black bottoms and black loafers, and I loved wearing that. I didn't have to think, and I felt good in it, and it looked good. But now I'm still kind of trying to figure out. I like playing around, but it's just we have too much choice. I think that causes a lot of depression too, like, and anxiety. Like, P and I got a new front door. We're at a door store. The amount of choice, and then for the doorknobs, hundreds of choices. You're like, wait, do I want this one or this one? There does not need to be that much choice.
Yeah, our brains aren't developed as fast as technology, as our environment. So yeah, we still have that basic, like the monkey brain in us.
Yeah.
Too much choices, stimulations can cause a lot of problems. Yeah,
You see
for
that with
sure.
dating and, people never being satisfied with things. Is there something better? Is there something better?
Yeah, I did see that dating coach clip of yours. Yeah,
Was she the
said-
matchmaker?
The matchmaker. She said, yeah, a lot of people say they want love, but they don't want to. Actions don't align with what they want. They're not open to dating, or they close themselves up. And I don't know how this dating world is like these days, but yeah, too many choices could be a problem, and just quick write somebody off because of the choices. And then
Because it's easy to find someone new.
Yeah.
Or back in the day, if you think like our parents' generation, a lot of them met in school or, in the neighborhood. And then they turn out having great marriages, right? So is it really that some people have to like thousands of people dated for years. I'm like, you really can't find anyone where you're willing to be open and tolerate their flaws? Is it you just haven't found someone yet, or is it because you're maybe a little closed off?
or like pretty girls start understand, oh, this is value. I'm worth a lot of money. There are apps I can go to make money. Why would I be tied down to one person?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The,
so it could
like
be
the
that too.
OnlyFans and
Yeah, the
stuff is what you're
OnlyFans,
talking
yeah,
about?
Yeah.
Yeah, the OnlyFans. I can see if you're younger what the appeal could be, because it's quick. Like, oh my gosh, I can make this much money. But I think it's good to think ahead and foresight of how that could impact what you decide in the future. Will that impact you know, if you want to get into a long-term relationship, will that person care that your naked photos are being shared with hundreds of thousands of others out there? Maybe some people don't care, but I think most like healthy individuals, like men, would like the idea of like it's special to him instead of out there for the world. I'm tired.
I know.
I think it's time to go.